After a weekend sojourn, the NPL is back, and now there's just 10 more rounds for teams to push their case for finals football. Last weekend, it was far from easy for both Adamstown and Hamilton, who continued their FFA Cup campaigns, which both ended in heartbreak at the hands of Broadmeadow Magic. This week provides a chance to refocus in a competition these two sides have been excelling in of late. Hamilton, they've won 3 of their past 4 in the NPL, while the Rosebuds, they've won 4 of their past 5. But the visitors don't have history on their side. They haven't beaten Olympic since 2004. That's inclusive of 14 matches. So here is the side Shane Tansdale Sheriff has selected to end that run. He makes just a one change from the team that went down 3-0 to Broadmeadow Magic last Saturday. Robbie Turnbull returns to bolster the back line, while Callum Gabriel drops back to the bench. For Hamilton Olympic, the home side this afternoon, Pete McGuinness, he makes also just the one change from the side who also lost to Magic. They went down 2-1 on Wednesday night in an epic FFA Cup contest. He brings in Jed Hornery, who came on after about 10 minutes in that match on Wednesday night to replace Simon Mooney, who's got a serious knee injury. On the bench for Adamstown, Aidan Von Essen, youngster, he started the season with Lambton. He's now moved to Adamstown. And for Hamilton, they've got Scott Pettit. He's the man to look out for. He scored 4 goals in his last 4 NPL matches, but missed their midweek clash with his former club, Broadmeadow Magic. It's a very cool one here this afternoon at Adamstown Oval. It's just 16 degrees. The wind 40 kilometres an hour from the west, and it feels like about 13 degrees. So a freezing one for both players, officials, coaches and fans alike. Referee and commentators, Smudge has just said as well. Referee for this afternoon's match is James Cleal. Does some work in the A-League, on the sideline as an assistant referee. And both coaches, James Cleal just having a chat to Adamstown mentor Shane Cansdell Sheriff, who recently just signed a new 2-year contract with Adamstown on the back of a 4-game winning run, which was actually ended by the Jets youth a couple of weeks ago. And that will keep him at the club until the end of the 2020 campaign. And for Hamilton coach Pete McGuinness, he says he's expecting plenty of players in the Adamstown side with a point to prove this afternoon. There's 4 of them that trained with Olympic in the pre-season and have since moved to Adamstown for the start of the 2018 season. So a few common threads running in between both these sides. Some Adamstown youngsters who were at Olympic last year. So it'll be Adamstown in the famous green and red to get us underway in this round 13 match in the NPL Northern New South Wales. And Smudge, I just want to ask you, Adamstown, they're on a 4-match winning run. They've lost 2 straight in all competitions. Has their momentum been halted?
Sorry, but I just had a pen in my mouth. No, I don't think so. I think obviously the result last week against the Jets probably wasn't ideal. They won 4 straight, so obviously they've gained a lot of confidence, a bit of momentum. But the result against the Jets last week obviously probably didn't please Shane Cansdell's Sheriff too much. But I think the interesting thing about today's match is obviously 7th v 6th. It's going to be interesting to see how Olympic get up for the match. They had a big, like a loss in the FFA Cup, so it's all about resetting the mindset, getting the positive and getting the confidence back, and it's going to be a big game for Hamilton and Pete McGuinness today.
How difficult will it be for them to bounce back after that? It was an emotional defeat. You know, you go down to your biggest rivals in a match where you're trying to make history to become the first team from Hamilton, Olympic, to make it through to the round of 32. That would have meant a lot to them, and to go down in the last 10 minutes, it would have hurt a lot. Yeah,
and prior to that 10 minutes, they're probably just the better side, just slightly the better side. So, unfortunately, they didn't get anything out of the game. But now they need to focus on the NPL, recharge, reset, and you know they've got a game in hand next week. But they're every chance of a sniff of the top 4, but they can't afford to drop points. So it's vital they get the 3 points today. Like Adamstown, it's vital they get the 3 points today. I think whoever drops points today will miss out on the 4.
I won't go as far as saying miss out, but I think it's going to be really difficult for whoever doesn't win. Adamstown, they're 6 points outside the, I should say, Olympic are 6 points outside the 4 as it stands currently. Charlestown playing Maitland this afternoon. They're in 4th on 19. Olympic in 8th at the moment, and for Adamstown, they're in 7th on 14 points. So a really important match for 2 sides neck and neck on the ladder. Here's Robbie Turnbull. Returns to the starting side, and Ben Kelly put under a lot of pressure there.
Just looking at the ladder, Bart, what I find fascinating is that Adamstown has the worst attack in the league and the 2nd worst defence in the league, and they're in 7th spot, which is quite amazing, isn't it?
It is incredible, and it all comes down to that match. Is getting himself out of a bit of a pickle is Judd Duncan. It all comes down to that match they played against Maitland.
Yeah, 8-2.
Maitland's attack was made to look better statistically than what it probably is, and Adamstown's defence was made to look worse than what it actually is. I've got a defensive stat for you, Smudge. They've conceded just 3 times in their last 3 matches, so averaging a goal a game conceded, Adamstown, in their last 3. Overall in the comp, they're at about 2.5 goals per game. So they've really defensively tightened things up of late.
And Bud, just quickly, there's been an early goal in one of the other matches today. Newcastle Jets 1, Valentine 0.
Yeah, so the struggle seems to be continuing for the Phoenix. Down the bottom of the table, and now well adrift, or about 3 points adrift, from Lake Macquarie, who won yesterday against Western 2-1. And they fully deserved that, Lakes. They probably could have won by a lot more. Here's an attempted turn from Judd Duncan. May have got a bump on his way down. It was actually the son of Shane Duncan, the coach of Boambi. Last week we watched them go around against Charlestown.
Wasn't that a great weekend, the FF Up weekend at Lake Macquarie?
Really good Saturday of matches, and then into the week. And the first year that we've actually had matches at suburban grounds for the playoff. Of course, last year we didn't have the round 7 matches at local grounds due to the weather. This year we got that opportunity, and it was a special Wednesday evening, wasn't it, Smudge? Charlestown going through as well. Tyler Warren to Reese Cooper. That was a great touch from Cooper, but Jake McGuinness just let him down. Jake McGuinness actually didn't play against Adamstown in round 2 because he was sent off in the round 1 match for Hamilton against Charlestown. His first meeting against Adamstown in Olympic colours.
Just looking at Olympic side, but Scott Pettit is on the bench. He was ruled out of the FFA Cup the other night just prior to the match with a bit of a tight hamstring, so he's sort of still carrying that a little bit at the moment, so he's a bit of a loss for Hamilton, but also the big loss of Simon Mooney injuring his knee early in that game on Wednesday night. We don't know the full picture just yet with Simon Mooney, but he's been outstanding for Hamilton this year.
5 goals in 3 matches coming into the FFA Cup weekend in the NPL. So there you go. That's just how prolific he was. And Scott Pettit has scored 4 goals in his last 4 NPL matches. So those 2 are huge losses for Hamilton Olympic going forward.
It's not the goals that Simon Mooney scores; it's his work rate off the ball as well.
And Scott Pettit, so you could probably say the same thing in terms of his assists. FFA Cup last weekend against Edgeworth, 3 assists. Didn't score, but he put the ball on a dime for the 3 goals. Reese Pappas, Jed Hornery and Jacob Bailey. There is Reese Pappas getting a touch and going back to Tyler Warren. And
just talking about other injured players for Hamilton Olympics, Stuart Michalek played 20. He's his first full game in quite a few weeks. He's had a bit of an issue with his knees, so it's great to see him back on the pitch, and hopefully he can get back to full fitness over the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's great news. Stuart Michalek was at Adamstown last year with Pete McGuinness, making the move to Olympic this year. There's McGuinness, Jake McGuinness, son of Pete, getting a touch. And Kyle Hodges in his 129th first grade match for Hamilton Olympic this afternoon. And still no goals, Smudge. Still no goals for Hamilton in the top grade. There's Cody Lucas. Nice little nutmeg, and did well to get away from Beasley. It's Tom Davies. He's actually closing in on, well, I wouldn't say closing in, but he's closing in on the record, not on Kyle Hodges' statistic, but on the record which preceded Kyle Hodges of 121 games without a goal for an outfield player for Hamilton Olympic. That was the record. Tom Davies is at 81 matches without a goal. I don't know if he'll get there because Kyle Hodges now has increased that to 129 matches. That'll be tough to pull back. Connor Hayden rolls this one up the line. Will be a corner for Adamstown. It's a fairly even opening to this one. Corner played short to Beasley. The back of Cooper. Jed Hornery pinches it back for Olympic, relieving the pressure for them.
Been impressed with Jed Hornery over the past few weeks, and even at the start of the season. Unfortunately, he was injured with a hamstring injury, which ruled him out for a few weeks. He can score goals. He's very busy, holds the ball up really well, but his runs into the box when players are delivering is first class. And he's scored a great goal against Olympic on Wednesday night.
Yeah, 2 in his last 2, Jed Hornery. Hasn't actually scored in the NPL since they played Adamstown back in round 2. Scored the only goal that evening at Adamstown Oval. Adamstown just a little bit of a pickle here, but ball threaded through, and Judd Duncan looks forward, finds Beasley. There's Cody Lucas just keeping a watchful eye over him, and Tyler Warren has some work to do. He's not going to be able to track that one down. Adamstown continue to apply the pressure. This match this afternoon, really the definition of a local derby. Both home grounds about a kilometre apart. Corner whipped in towards Ollie Davies. Clearance from Bailey. Reaches Hornery. Just a pirouette. Now here's Luke Valone trying to swerve away from Cody Lucas. Playing against his former club for the first time, Luke Valone. He started the season at Hamilton, was playing in the under-20s. Played a few first-grade fixtures for Olympic. Here is Blake Green now. Now Connor Hayden, gee, that looks terrible for Connor Hayden.
And for Blake Green. Blake Green went down just clutching. It looks like, I could be wrong, maybe his Achilles, or he went straight down. He sort of fell very awkwardly.
So maybe Blake Green with the greater problem. Connor Hayden has had a super year for Adamstown. He's their leading scorer with 5 goals. Now, he looks to be all right, but it's Blake Green who is right against the fence, who is in a terrible lot of trouble. And James Cleal probably knows, because he is a physio. He'd have some kind of an idea, referee out there, as to what he has done.
And also Blake Green waved to the bench straight away. It was a very awkward fall.
He is back up, Blake Green, so
just feeling his knee.
And he's just making sure it's stable.
Probably felt it buckle because you see the turf sort of spun up out off the ground, so sort of his knee sort of gave way a little bit. He probably thought he'd done something sinister, but it's good to see him back on his feet.
That's great news. I thought it was going to be bad news for both Connor Hayden and also for Blake Green. He looks to be all right. Here's Jed Hornery holding it up. Reece Cooper! That was travelling, and it's still not cleared for Adamstown, and that one well saved by Ben Kelly off the chest. There's an interesting method.
What a strike by Reece Cooper. If that went a yard either side of Ben Kelly, that was in. Great save by Ben Kelly.
He scored just 1 goal since round 3, Reece Cooper. It's been a bit of a drought for him. Scored in the last meeting here against Adamstown last year. Almost did so again then and there. Here is Finn Beasley holding it up, and Cody Lucas just slipped, and it allowed the young winger to get away from Lucas. Still going Beasley. What a run this is into the box. We'll win the corner. And Kyle Hodges coming out of that challenge worse for wear.
Yeah,
great. I know he was a bit ill coming to this one, Kyle Hodges, but as he is the ultimate professional, he just battles on.
Yeah. Yeah, Pete McGuinness said he's been quite crook for the last few days, but as captain of the club, you know, he wants to lead by example on the park, and obviously he's starting today.
So Valone curling it in. Tyler Warren with the punch. I was talking about Luke Valone. What a season he's had since moving to Adamstown. 4 goals in his last 3 games. Absolutely scintillating from the young attacker. Here he is again on the ball, brings it down.
And there have been special goals too. Some great finishes there, especially the one against Edgeworth. He got our goal of the week.
He did. He did get goal of the week. Just the chip, the neat little dink over the top of from Cavalier.
From an angle, yeah, from an angle as well.
And here's Valone again, curling it in. Blake Green. Tom Davies nods it away. Now Jed Hornery. Go to ground. No whistle. And Hamilton maybe had a break quickly with the speed of Reece Cooper. Swerves inside Davies and just bumps the pass up and over the top towards Leo Bertos, but with the wind, so he's coming straight across the ground. That ball was just travelling all the way.
Yeah, good transition by Olympic. That's where Adamstown need to be careful. They transition really quick, they break really quick, and they've got speed up front. So that's where Adamstown need to be. Just make sure they've got enough numbers back to cover that quick transition. And around the grounds, Bart, there's been another few goals. Let me just have a quick look.
While Smudge is doing that, we'll see what Matt Sikulski can do, the former Maitland Magpie. And they're in action this afternoon, Smudge.
Yes,
Oh, they're doing all right.
Yeah, so the Jets have scored another one to make it 2-0 versus Valentine. And up at Windy Hill, which it would be very windy there today, and cold, Maitland 1, Charlestown 0.
And goals would be worth gold, wouldn't they, up at Windy Hill
Oh,
this
yeah,
afternoon.
for sure.
So Jake McGuinness tries to thread the needle. Here's Ben Kelly. In his 4th club in 4 years, he was up at Maitland back in 2015. Western 2016, and then last year at Lakes, while making the move to Adamstown. He's up at Maitland for a few years. There's Jacob Bailey, rolling that one out to Cody Lucas. As we said, with the wind, it's a tough effort, those balls played across to the eastern side of Darling Street.
It's good to see our mate CT finally arrive for the game.
He has, but just have a look at that touch from Reese Pappas, and then the 1-2 with Cooper. And now almost wins the corner kick, Reese Pappas. Just the sleight of foot to send Cooper on his way. Those two.
And well-weighted pass, wasn't it?
Those two are like the dynamic duo, Reese Pappas and Reese Cooper.
And CT, just really quickly, your wife said your gloves are in the pocket.
Thank you very much, Mudge. I'll put them on in a minute.
Well, it is cold enough for gloves this afternoon, CT. It is bitterly cold. So thus far, you'd probably say Olympic with the better of the opportunities. But Adamstown, they're just grafting away, as they have done over the last couple of months of the season. Slow start, of course. They were beaten 9-1 by Maitland in round 3, and Connor Hayden goes to ground again. Again, slow to get back to his feet.
But just up at Maitland, Matt Cumberford scored for Maitland in the 8th minute.
Just settling in, boys, but it looks like there's a bit of feeling out here early.
Plenty of feeling between the two local rivals. Robbie Turnbull. You can see he's strapped that left thigh and down to his knee fairly heavily. Turnbull trying to whip it in, straight into the head of Jacob Bailey. Now Reese Pappas to Cooper again. Tom Davies.
Good pressure again by Adamstown on the back four of Olympic, trying to unsettle the back four, trying to play out from the back.
Reese Pappas playing a little higher this afternoon than he has been in the last couple of matches, and playing at centre back, but playing in that 6 role now this afternoon, which is allowing him to get forward and cause some problems for Adamstown, especially linking up well with Reese Cooper. What's the reason for that, Smudge? The move to move Reese Pappas forward, that decision by Pete McGuinness.
Well, I haven't spoken to Pete, but I think it's just changing a few things up. Blake Green played more of a left side winger against Magic on Wednesday night. He's playing left fullback today. Reese Cooper comes out on the left-hand side. They probably want Reese Cooper to get a bit more space so he can get one-on-one with the left, or Robbie Turnbull here. Oh, solid challenge.
Very solid from Robbie Turnbull on Reese Cooper. Gives him a little shove in the back on the way through too.
Yeah, I think I think for moving Reese Cooper out on the left-hand side, just give him a bit more space, get him in one-on-one situations. Sometimes on a smaller pitch, he probably doesn't get on the ball as much as Pete would want him to, but yeah, I think it's a pretty good move. He'll probably change it up throughout the course of the game, and plus, as you'll see now, Reese Cooper, he tucks inside anyway for Blake Green to overlap, so he can play a bit more central too.
Boys, I did have the opportunity to speak with Pete McGuinness this morning, and he said a lot of the setup of his team is going to be hinged on the fitness of Pettit. So if Scott Pettit was available, then he would have played wide on that right side, and so that's the reason for the summary.
Here's Matt Sikulski getting forward. Can he link up with Finn Beasley? Does. Plays it through beautifully. And Tyler Warren did well to smother the strike. And that's Adamstown's best chance of the match so far.
Well, Well, a good chance too, wasn't it?
Yeah, what I would have liked to see Beasley do is actually drag the last defender of Olympic, and then he would have been one-on-one with Tyler and Warren in the centre of the goals. He's played the ball out to, was it Connor Hayden? The ball through? No, Matt Malone.
Sikulski.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I'd like to see him go himself rather than putting that ball in there.
What a ball.
Leo Bertos across the face. Arriving late is Jake McGuinness, but the touch took him away from goal. Hasn't scored in the NPL, Jake McGuinness. He was close there. If he could control nicely, but he just couldn't. It's been an unhappy hunting ground, Darling Street, for Hamilton Olympic this year. They've won just 1 of 6, and dating back to last year, if you include their last 2 matches, they've won just 1 of their last 8 here. Any reason why that would be? Oh, I just think it's the smaller pitch doesn't suit their style of play. We saw that last week at the regional football facility.
And also, I think a lot of teams who come here and play, they actually like playing on the pitch. It's actually nice and close to the crowd. It's nice and compact.
And also, they're one of the big clubs in the competition, so sides are always going to get up for matches.
Exactly.
The other thing there as well is the pitch is generally in great shape, and Olympic do a good job in keeping it that way. I mean, we're in the middle of the season right now, and it looks in particularly good condition for this time of the year.
And they've got that development application into, of course, the cricket pitch has been taken out, and they're looking to build a very nice grandstand media box, maybe, boys. We're still here in a few years' time. Maybe we can turn the heater on on afternoons like this. It's freezing this afternoon. Cody Lucas out of Pappas. One issue Adamstown have had this year is they've conceded first in 8 of their 11 matches. When they haven't conceded first, they've won twice and drawn once. So it's been an issue for them. First goal so vital. For Olympic, they've conceded first 6 times, but when they score first, they've only won twice. Only got a 50% record when they score first. So interesting. Works for some sides, but others like to come from behind, as we've seen from Olympic this year.
Yeah, I think you'll find there won't be too many goals, though. With these windy and bumpy conditions, it's pretty tough for players out there. So, and as we've seen, there hasn't been too many chances in the opening 20 or so minutes.
So Kyle Hodges to Blake Green. Hodges looks up and sees Jed Hornery. Came through the Mariners youth system in Hornery, in his first season in the NPL, Northern New South Wales.
Generally, when the conditions are windier, you like to see the ball on the deck more often, and both sides have been doing that so far. Get it up in the air, it starts to swirl about, makes it more difficult to control.
Ball over the top, Luke Valone was almost there first. Kyle Hodges used his experience just to get back and read the play before things got a little more dangerous for Hamilton.
I haven't spoken to Pete McGuinness, but I'm thinking also with Reece Pappas, he's come into the game with a bit of calf tightness. So the thing is, if he's playing in the back line, sometimes he has to make a full-on sprint. But if you're playing as the number 6, just screening in front, you can just sort of trot along a bit.
That makes sense.
So I'm thinking that, but I could be totally wrong.
Tom Davies straight through the back of Luke Valone there.
Because their back line has been absolutely superb with Reece Pappas back with Cole Hodges in the centre. They have been rock solid the last few games.
So Luke Valone standing over the free kick. Nice little dink over the top, and it was almost going over the top of Warren for potentially an own goal, but it's a bit of a deception.
Well, there was a call of keeper there, but that certainly didn't stop a collision between the two Olympic players.
So, boys, there's been another goal at Windy Hill today at Maitland. It's Maitland 2, Charlestown 0.
And they will be heavily fatigued after Wednesday night's match, won't they? Charlestown against Lambton. Yeah, heavy pitch at Lower Car.
And went for 120 minutes plus pens.
Super Island in goals.
He was good. It's exceptional is probably a better word.
Stupendous.
Outstanding.
Leo Bertos now. Tracking forward. Nice move there from Jake McGuinness to get away from Ollie Davies. Now Blake Green. He's had her away from goal. Hodges back to Bailey. Scored the winner against Edgeworth in their round 6 FFA Cup match. Unfortunately, comes to naught in the end.
That match was one of the matches of the season for me.
It's a cracker.
And the quality was outstanding from both sides.
And just the mental toughness from Edgeworth to be without Will Bauer and Daniel McBrain late on in that match, and then Bailey Garland comes on and scores. And then just as you think we're heading into extra time, Jacob Bailey pops up from a corner. He'll be looking to score again here. He hasn't scored in the NPL for a couple of years, Jacob Bailey, and here it is, Kyle Hodges. Well, that's a collector's item, seeing Kyle Hodges score. 6 years it's been, more than 6 years, since he scored for Charlestown in the NBN State League. CT is cracking up.
Just briefly, it was only very briefly, I thought that he was a real big chance there until boot went to ball.
It was on his least favoured foot. He looked a bit of rush of blood there.
I'm just thinking he had enough time to take that on his right boot. And I'm sorry, Kyle, but it did look funny. Here's Reece Cooper. Now Blake Green. I just hope one day we are covering the game when Kyle Hodges finally scores.
Yes, I think we might even jump the fence and go and celebrate with him.
You'll get a selfie with him, CT. Just like you did with Sam Walker that afternoon here at Darling Street.
Yes.
One of the more interesting moments of the season. You weren't here, Smudge, for that game.
No.
Sam Walker scored and CT tried to get a selfie with him, and then Hamilton almost scored because Sam Walker was off the field getting a selfie. So
I blame CT for that.
Well, don't make it too more dramatic than it needs to be. And yes, an apology did go out to the coach.
I think Nick Webb had a few choice words to say, didn't he?
No, not at all. He was he's a gentleman, and he knew what was going on, and Sam Walker just took too long to get to the sideline. That was about the size of it.
Yeah, well, good on Nick Webb and Lake Macquarie winning that match yesterday against Western. Head Blake Green. Gee, misjudged that badly. And Finn Beasley.
Yeah, Blake Green there, he was getting the call from Tyler Warren. It was away, and he just didn't get anything at all.
You can't say the sun was in his eyes because the sun's coming from the other direction.
And Pete McGuinness, I think, has had a few words to say to Blake.
And I think Beasley was quite shocked by the ball actually coming to him. He sort of got him by surprise. Great ball.
Luke Rutledge just dinks that one over the sideline. He was the under-20s captain at Hamilton last year. Luke Rutledge, Hamilton stalwart, but just wasn't getting the game time he desired at Hamilton Olympic. Jake McGuinness brought that down well. Now Leo Bertos, the Wellington Phoenix veteran. Back to Pappas, dinks it towards Cooper, and Ben Kelly rose highest. Here's Beasley. Saw Jacob Bailey coming across, and he didn't want to get himself involved in that little duel. Here's Pappas. Pretty much stood on the ball. And now Hayden. We got goal side of Tom Davies. He turns him this way, and that Connor Hayden. He can find the back of the net, and if he didn't get as much power on that ball across the face, Luke Valone could have had a tap in at the back post.
Well, yeah, and I think the intention of Connor Hayden, and by the way, what a pick-up for Adamstown he's been, was just purely to score, and he really got himself in good position to do that. Unfortunately for him, that one's just gone by.
He played for Maitland in the 2015 NPL season, scored a goal. That was his only NPL goal before this season against South Cardiff in round 10 of that season. CT, you're actually coaching at the start of that year, so You'd know him quite well, Connor.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and was giving him some starts in first grade back then and nicknamed him Weapon because that's about what I thought was in him, and we're really seeing that after now he's been over in the United States in the college league.
Well, here he is again, Connor Hayden, and Tyler Warren has got to be quick here. Connor Hayden has got around him. He's got Valone in the middle. Did Valone get bumped down? James Cleal says no.
I'd like to see that again.
Nervous times for Olympic at the moment. And Adamstown are just shading them at the moment.
And again, Connor Hayden, Weapon, comes out and shows what he's capable of.
Now Jed Hornery, Reese Cooper has got acres of space out here. He's up against Robbie Turnbull. That's a bit of a mismatch. Bertos stinks it in. Turnbull's there with the header away. Blake Green recovered from that earlier injury scare. Now Bailey. Kyle Hodges surveys the situation. And Cooper and Green. Hodges. Now Rutledge. It's an awkward header.
I think both sides just need to get the ball on deck and start playing a bit. There's a bit too much turnover. The ball movement's a little bit too slow as well. But it is windy conditions out there, so it is a bit difficult.
There's Valone. Giving and going with Matt Sikulski. And now Beasley. Pass just took a little deflection off Cody Lucas. Will get away with it in the end. And that's the key, isn't it? When it is blowing a gale like it is, 40-kilometre-an-hour winds blowing across the ground. You boys would know better than most how crucial it is to keep the ball on the turf.
A little bit narrow here, Adamstown. It's very tight.
And if you're playing narrow at Darling Street,
it's very narrow.
Oh. Ben Kelly, interesting. Jed Hornery could have had the opportunity to chip him if he was able to get the ball down. Just couldn't quite do so.
Just around the grounds, Valentine's pinned one back. So Newcastle Jets 2, Valentine 1.
That's good news for Valentine because the wheels look to be falling off there, down 2-0. See if they can turn things around. Over half an hour gone here at Darling Street. It's round 13 in the NPL Northern New South Wales. And it's Hamilton Olympic up against Adamstown Rosebud. Adamstown tipped by most to come last this year. They're 7th on the ladder and they've won 4 of their last 5. They're in great form. This is why we love sport, isn't it? See moments like this, sides like this. Adamstown expected to finish at the bottom on paper, and they've been superb this year as Beasley just slow to get to his feet.
Yeah, talking to Ben Higgins, Adamstown's captain prior to the game, I was just asking about the coach, Shane Cansdale-Sheriff, and he said, it took a while, obviously, for the young fellas to adapt to his style of play, but now they've got full confidence, obviously, in the coach, and he's very calm, and gives them a lot of confidence, and he's been very impressed with the way Shane's coached this year.
Phil Coyner, the Adamstown assistant coach, back at his former home, assistant at Hamilton for many years, Ben Higgins.
So that's Benny Higgins taking a goal kick just outside the box.
I'm just trying to wonder for a second why he was the man to take the free kick if that was the best he could offer.
To be honest, he hits a very good dead ball. So, obviously that one he just skewed off his foot. I think he was trying to bend it around the wall, but obviously got a little bit mixed up.
Yeah, Hamilton, Broadmeadow Magic stalwart Ben Higgins there for many, many years.
Yeah, he's a perfect clubman.
Here's Sikulski through to Luke Valone. He's had a couple of chances, just can't quite score against his former club.
Yeah, Blake Green got a little bit ball watching there, just Connor Hayden just got him behind him, just needs to be a little bit careful. Olympic just a little bit flat across the back.
And it's a few chances down that right side for Adamstown, on the left side for Olympic. And Blake Green just doesn't need to get isolated and get in a foot race if he can help it.
It's McGuinness with Rosebuds all around him. Reese Pappas went to ground.
I'd like to see Olympic just hold the ball a bit here. They're trying to transition quick, but just need to connect a few passes together. They're only telling two or three passes and there's turnover like that again. However, it was a foul.
And they will get the opportunity from the dead ball. But at the moment, probably say dead even in terms of chances. I know Adamstown have had the better chances of late, but Olympic had a good passage early on, and they may have an opportunity here to open the scoring. Ben Kelly gets up there. Tom Davies. I mentioned that record earlier. Adamstown, they've only scored first 3 times this year in 11 matches. Hayden swerves wide and plays the ball to Robbie Turnbull. It was low. It was a little bit awkward for Blake Green.
I must say, every time Adamstown goes forward, they look like they're going to score, don't they? The Olympics' backline's looking just a little bit shaky at the moment. Like the last few games when they've had Pappas in the back, he's really organised the back four, but him playing in the more defensive role, they're looking a little bit shaky. A bit cold there, CT.
Here's Valone. Ben Higgins, gee, got some airtime, and then Sokulski was audacious.
Just quickly around the grounds, boys. Maitland get another one. It's 3-0 up on Windy Hill today.
It's almost cracked the beers open time up at Windy Hill for Maitland. I think Charlestown will be pulling that one back on a windy afternoon.
Tell you what, if Maitland do get a result, that puts them in the top 4.
Charlestown back to 5th, so it's getting very interesting. The battle for the top 4, of course, this match crucial this afternoon. The Jets will go to 19 points if they win against Valentine. Then whoever wins this one, that's why it is so crucial.
You know what? Maitland will go to 3rd spot on goal difference if they beat Charlestown today.
They've got a very good goal difference, Maitland, courtesy of that big win against the Rosebuds. So Ollie Davies for the long throw. It's straight to Jacob Bailey. Another former Hamilton Olympic man, Ollie Davies. Take it to the byline. Now Jake McGuinness looks up and sends Jed Hornery on his way. The wind just pushes the ball over the sideline.
Yeah, if you had a more straighter pass, Jed Hornery, he was in on goal.
Yeah,
wasn't he, CT?
Well, and the other thing is that we had Reece Cooper. He had him on the left-hand side as well, so he had options there. And just that delivery and the wind. It's overplayed.
Here's Beasley again.
It's been good, hasn't he?
He has. He's found some room again down the left. Pass just went astray as he looked for Connor Hayden. But Olympic have looked a bit lost since about the 25th minute of this one.
Yeah, I'm thinking more a little bit flat. They did play Wednesday night.
There's McGuinness. Rutledge with a boot in. I think Pete McGuinness and the Olympic coaching staff will just want to get to half-time, reassess and try and inspire the troops for the last 45 minutes. Got a busy schedule coming up. They're going to play Charlestown as well, that catch-up match.
That's next Wednesday night, Ben.
I've got to confirm that. I'll confirm that at half-time. It's Jacob Bailey, Hornery. That's how I understood it. And here's Beasley again, showing a clean pair of heels. They may have a 4-on-3 here. Blake Green's going to have to get back to make it a 4-on-4. Here he is, Beasley. Saw Warren off his line, and that's, well,
wasted opportunity, wasn't it, CT?
It really was, and Blake Green was caught out of position. You're spot on there, Bart, and he had some ground to make up because Adamstown had some numbers forward.
He had to play the pass there, didn't he, Beasley? That's youth for you. Take on the strike.
But like, he shows intent. When he gets the ball, he faces forward and goes forward. I've been impressed with him in the opening 30 minutes. He's caused Hamilton quite a few problems.
Well, it was Valone that was the man on the back stick that was lurking, and he looked the danger, and he was certainly in some space on his own.
Just on the referee, James Cleal, CT, did you get any honey today from James Cleal?
No, we've still got half a jar there, and appreciate him giving us the honey. Absolutely beautiful, by the way.
Luke Valone has been very good in this first half. Sikulski on the left boot. And on a day where he hasn't got 40 kilometre an hour winds behind him, that probably was going to be a perfect ball to Beasley at the back post.
So, CT, you came down from the Gold Coast today. What was the weather like up there compared to here?
Yeah, well, actually flew out of Brisbane, and it was T-shirt weather, and got into Newcastle and found out we've got a different weather pattern.
One of those moments you get off the plane and you think you should have put a jumper on, or did you have the jumper on beforehand?
Sure, most people wouldn't give a flyer either way. Yeah, certainly different weather conditions.
Here's Tyler Warren. He was going to leave that a little bit short on Tom Davies, and straight to Finn Beasley. He pushes forward again. Sikulski sees the run to Hayden, but Sikulski takes it on. Well, if he plays that ball to Hayden, I think he was in on goal.
My concern with Olympic, especially with the back four, when they've got the ball at the back, their two centre fullbacks in Tom Davies and Kyle Hodges are split virtually 40 metres apart, even 50 metres apart. If that breaks down, there is holes everywhere. And their deep midfielder, either Bailey or Pappas, isn't dropping deep to sort of cover that big hole in the centre, hey, CT?
Yeah, I agree.
And it could be very dangerous.
And when you're in your bottom third defending, you need to get your central defenders closer than what they have been. So we'll keep an eye on that one and see how that eventuates, because guys up front and Valone and Hayden.
And then you find your Cody Lucas and Blake Green, the right and left fullback, are pushing very high and wide nice and early. And if it breaks down, and Blake Green's been caught out a few times, he's been pushed up too high.
Well, it's like a box four midfield, isn't it, for Olympic? Two holding midfielders and two directly on top, and then three strikers. So when they're going forward, they look quite dangerous. It's just, you're right, that those two holding midfielders have got to put some more cover on and keep it a bit tighter through the middle of the park and plug those holes up that you mentioned, Smudge, that are there gaping at the moment.
Valone just couldn't quite get the back heel on the ball to flick it on.
He uses his body very well, doesn't he, Jed Hornery, doesn't he, CT?
He sure does, and he got himself into that position well to win the free kick. And I was just going to say also, what a worker Jacob Bailey is in the middle of the park for Olympic.
Yeah, I think they've missed him in the first 6 or so rounds. They just need someone who does all that work on and off the ball, does a lot of work what goes unnoticed.
Yeah, and we've said that in other years, the amount of work that he does unnoticed, Smudge. You're exactly right, and how he just gets it and wins it.
It's his aggression as well in that centre of the park.
And has the ability to play some good quality balls, and his distribution's generally great.
There's Kyle Hodges. A little nick off Luke Valone on the way through. Just talking about Olympics' busy schedule as we were before. 5 games in 16 days they've got. This is their third. Charlestown midweek and then Valentine next Sunday. So not a great time for them to have a few injuries. Here's Leo Bertos. Couldn't quite catch up with it. He will win the corner though. So we tick towards half-time. Round 13 of the NPL Northern New South Wales.
You'd have to say it's an even first half, wouldn't you, boys? I'd say Adamstown probably had more the clear-cut chances.
Yeah, of course, Reece Cooper had that golden chance early on for Olympic. I'd say pretty much dead even. That's a poor corner from Leo Bertos, and you can see his frustration.
Yeah, they're just a bit flat for me. Obviously, you know, we spoke about the game on Wednesday night. Obviously, they really need to reset, don't they, CT? And
yeah, I think so. And maybe with the wind sort of slightly in their face, Olympic in the second half might help with the possession a little bit more. A couple of balls have been overhit.
And it's not a match they can afford to be flat for, being only on 13 points and needing 3 this afternoon. So if they lose this, they got Charlestown on Wednesday. That's not going to be an easy match. If they lose that as well, you'd probably say it's going to be
very difficult.
Very, very difficult. But never rule out anyone. We saw what Magic did last week. They won something like their last 9 matches of the season, or 10 matches to make the finals when we thought it's all over. It's McGuinness with Rutledge. He's been solid.
What's not difficult is the aroma from the chicken schnitzels, Smudge. They got the best in the league, would you say, the chicken schnitzels, the burger?
I was just thinking, CT, we've actually been at Darling Street quite a lot this season. We've been here at Darling Street because Hamilton have had a lot of home games. I said this could be close to one of our final matches here until the back end of the season, because they have very much a lopsided draw with home matches. Here's Pappas, and now Higgins with the clearance away. And that will do us for the opening 45 minutes at Darling Street, where Hamilton, they raced out of the blocks. They had some great chances. Reece Cooper with the best of them. And then it was all Adamstown in the final 20 minutes. Finn Beasley, Luke Falone and Connor Hayden causing all sorts of problems in the front third. But we go to the break, all locked up at 0-0 at half-time here at Adamstown Oval. Smudge, what have Olympic and Pete McGuinness got to do right now to try and ensure they come out with a lot more energy than they've been showing lately?
Yeah, I think he'd be looking to bring Scott Pettit on nice and early for me. Probably after about 15 minutes, bring a bit of spark out there, bring a bit of pace, and he's fresh as well. He didn't play on Wednesday night. But, yeah, I don't know, they're just a little bit flat, obviously, after Wednesday night. I think they need a bit more width, a bit more speed of play. Their speed's too slow. And I like to see them transition a lot quicker, CT. They're transitioning. That's when they're dangerous, and that's what caused a lot of problems against Edgeworth in the FFA Cup. They'll transition really quick. However, today it's just been a slow build-up. I like to see them with transition.
Yeah, and additional to that is Peter McGuinness is probably going to want to get the ball on the deck and play it on the deck and keep possession more than what they've done. So playing with the wind slightly in your face gives them good opportunity to do that. Possession, then their build-up and the way they attack forward with numbers will create more opportunity.
And I think for Adamstown, I think Shane Cansdale's there. He'll be pretty happy with his first half performance. But I think just in the front third, if they made better decisions, they could have had 1 or 2 goals.
All right, well, we'll take a quick break and be back in about 5 to 10 minutes. We'll go jump in the sauna, and we'll be back for the second half shortly.
Politis Investment Strategies provides investment and superannuation advice via a network of thousands of accountants and financial planners Australia-wide. Get the right advice from a Politis Investment Strategy specialist, ensuring you benefit from a personalised solution that will assist you in achieving your financial goals and objectives. Politis Investment Strategies is Olympic's long-term major sponsor and a keen supporter of Hamilton Olympic. Looking for the best local food, atmosphere and accommodation? Stop looking. You've found the Premier Hotel. Located at 9 Ways in the heart of Broadmeadow, the Premier has long been a destination of choice for when you want to relax and unwind within a family-friendly atmosphere, where everybody knows your name. The Premier Hotel is Hamilton Olympics' official entertainment venue. Equius is the name behind the name in Australian finance. Its infrastructure processes over 5,000 loans per month through a network of over 14,000 brokers Australia-wide. Equius is a Newcastle-based international success story as a proud supporter of Hamilton Olympic. Prosmiden provides safety and change management services to the challenging construction, mining, oil and gas and shipping sites worldwide. Based in Newcastle, but with a global reach, Prosmiden operates across 4 continents and implements best practice processes that ensure safe outcomes for workers and their families. PRD is Newcastle's leading real estate network, regularly winning awards for their outstanding customer service and achieving results that their clients desire. If you're looking to sell or rent your home, call Sam Chusitz of PRD Newcastle for an obligation-free discussion on how you can gain the most value from your home. Enjoying the food at the canteen? It's been supplied by Red Funnel Food Service, who provide bulk food distribution to restaurants, shops and canteens across Newcastle, Central Coast, Hunter Region and North Coast, and have been since 1933. Remember, if it's fresh food, it's Red Funnel. We like to think that our Olympic players are made of steel, supplied, of course, by Hunter Metal Market. Based in Heatherbrae, Hunter Metal Market supplies and delivers almost any metal product you're likely to need, from steel bars to sheet metal, tubular sections, fencing wire, mesh products, or roofing and building products. If you need metal, call Hunter Metal Market. Buying a home or needing a building inspection? Building a home and need sound, independent construction advice? Or need an independent witness for building disputes? Call SEBA Consulting, Newcastle's leading independent building experts. Matt and the team pride themselves on their independent, no-nonsense advice on acquiring or building a home or commercial building. They're so good, they can even build it for you. Before you build or buy, speak to SEBA Consulting, the expert building advisors. Catering for a function? Or heading up the valley or Maitland and feeling peckish? Drop into Sanger's Real Food in the Beresfield Industrial Estate for their famous breakfasts and lunches. Sanger's Real Food is a 2017 award winner for outstanding fast food, and people come from miles for the best food in the area, or to have Sam and Angelo Chusas cater for their function. Sanger's Real Food, proud supporters of Hamilton Olympic. Need to hire equipment for your business? Call Access Hire. They supply a full range of industrial and business hire equipment, including forklifts, lighting towers, cranes, telehandlers, and electrical generators. You name it, David Tripodi and his Access Hire team has got it, ready and available when you need it. Call Access Hire next time you need equipment in a hurry, delivered first time and on time. Flying out of Newcastle Airport? Well, you won't get far without Australian Refuelling Services, who supply all the jet fuel for the airport and ensure you leave on time and, of course, with enough fuel to get you there. So thank Australian Refuelling Services next time you fly, as we do, for their magnificent support of Hamilton Olympic. Dakota Tiles is Newcastle's specialist in tiles and ceramics to add value to your home and business. Dakota offers the very best in Australian, European and Asian sourced products, dealing directly with suppliers and importers to ensure you get the right product at the right price. If you're building or renovating, put Dakota Tiles on your must-visit list and give Tim Zervis and his team a call. Feeling peckish after the game? Or you need your regular McDonald's fix during the week or weekend? Visit McDonald's at Katara or Westfield Katara, where you can talk football with proud owner and fellow Olympic supporter Michael Ferris. All your favourites at McDonald's are there. You know it tastes good at McDonald's Katara. In the unfortunate event of a car accident, you're in good hands with Steve Coulis Smash Repairs. George Coulis and his team of experts are the go-to repairers for almost all the European and luxury car manufacturers, which is testimony to their outstanding attention to detail. Steve Coulis Smash Repairs, based in Griffiths Road, Lambton. First National Newcastle are proud supporters of Hamilton Olympic. Led by Newcastle real estate legend George Rafferty, First National are experts in buying and selling homes and commercial property. Speak to First National Newcastle for expert real estate advice. Think the food at our canteen is good? That's because we've got recognised experts attending to your culinary needs. Our experts include George Bellis of Civic Lunch Delights, based in Hunter Street, Newcastle. If you need catering in the CBD and surrounding area, call Civic Lunch Delights for catering, or drop by at their shop next to the Civic Theatre. Our other expert in the canteen is George Saris of Mayfield West Kebabs. There's nothing better than a kebab, we all know it. So if you're hankering for the best kebabs or charcoal chicken in Newcastle, visit Mayfield West Kebabs, located in Maitland Road, Mayfield West. You won't be disappointed. Our players are fueled by Lowe's Petroleum Service, your local complete fueling solutions and quality lubricants provider. They're proud to fuel community sports, and we're equally proud to have Lowe's Petroleum Service on board. We would also like to thank our other supporters and sponsors who each proudly support Hamilton Olympic. They include Albatross Marina Complex, Hamilton News and Gifts, Mega Gyros, Good Food Distributors, Newcastle Asbestos Consulting, Newcastle Mazda, Sotcom, Street Real Estate, Blue Door Developments, Harry Schnitzel's Home of the Famous, Hunter Motor Group, Jasmine Fruit Barn, Ace Air Conditioning, Aussie Home Loans Hamilton, Garris Accountants, Hamilton. Yannicus Argyris and McDonald Solicitors. Momentum Business Improvement Specialists. Higgitt's Family Chemist. PTAN Taxation. Somerset Meats. And M&J De La Grotta Concreters. Thank you again to all our sponsors and benefactors. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back to Darling Street for the second half. The refs are actually a little bit slow getting out here, so we've got a couple of minutes before we get back underway. They've just got to check both the goals. We're back underway, 0-0 here at the home of Hamilton Olympic. Olympic starting the match very strongly, the better of the two sides. And then Adamstown at the back end of that first half. It's probably the better chances. So it'll be Olympic to get us back underway. In the blue and white from left to right in their second half. We are back underway. Final 45 minutes in round 13 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. And boys, who do you see best placed to play them all three this afternoon?
Boys, that second part of this first half.
It falls for Beasley, brings it down, and Tyler Warren with the strike on goal. Sorry, CT. You
continue with that. I was going to say, Adamstown really started to get themselves on top. And just then, they've come out, second half, the way they've gone back, they went in.
What a great opportunity from Beasley. He's had a few opportunities today. Like I said just before at the halftime break, if Adamstown were a bit more clinical in front of goal or had better options in their front third, they could be up by one or two. But in saying that, Olympics had their chances as well. Just around the grounds at Maitland, it's 3-1 to Maitland at Windy Hill today, with Matty Cumberford scoring a hat-trick for Maitland.
4 goals, and it probably is blowing a gale up there. Just amazing. Here's Beasley now, picking the pocket of Kyle Hodges.
Important win back from Hodges as well, because Beasley, he's got his eye for goal at the moment. Looks like he's got one intention.
So, CT, we've got Simon Mooney walking past us in a hinge knee brace. Do you know what the final outcome of his knee was?
Yeah, so he hurt his knee last year, ACL. And I understand it's his other knee this time. And I understand it's his ACL. You being the medical professional, Smudge, you'll know what sort of time frame that is likely to incur.
So he's had a scan and it's been officially declared?
Yeah, he had a scan on, I think it was Friday.
So hopefully we'll be right for the start of next season if you can get the surgery done nice and quick.
That information is actually correct.
There's Ollie Davies.
We'll confirm that.
Now Judd Duncan, leading scorer for Hamilton Olympic, Simon Mooney, up to this point with 6 goals. And then in second on that list with 4, Scott Pettit, still sitting on the bench. Be looking to make an impact later on in this one as Beasley dinks it in. Tyler Warren wasn't as convincing as he would like. Connor Hayden now onto Judd Duncan.
Well, Tyler Warren's just had to get some fists on that to punch it away. He was sort of the angle, if he tried to catch it, he's probably going to take Beasley out. And that's penalty time. So I think he's done the right thing there.
Here's Hodges. If you just heard that big gust of wind, the wind is coming across the ground at about 40 kilometres an hour. So from the west, if anything, it's probably just slightly behind Olympic. Has a bit of northerly in it. Which means, CT, your flight back from up north would have been a little bit quicker. A little bit of northerly tail.
And he's going downhill as well.
Here's Leo Bertos. Now Cooper. They started the season, I should say they started the second half very sleepy. Hamilton. It didn't seem like half-time changed much, and here's Adamstown again. Jacob Bailey trying to waste a bit of time.
Is Bales or is this on a yellow, Jacob Bailey?
No, he received the yellow on Wednesday night. I think that's where you may be. Here comes another yellow.
Yeah, for Jacob
Bailey. He gets one now. If you had have asked the question about 30 seconds later, he would have been spot on, Smudge.
I wonder, Smudge, how long it will be before we see Scott Pettit warm up. Be injected into this game.
It's probably not the best game to come on with a bit of a hamstring strain, is it? But they need him out there, and they need 3 points today to stay intact with the top four.
So Judd Duncan swings this one in. Connor Hayden, unmarked. Well, how's he missed that? Unmarked, no one around him. The ball may have just hung up there in the wind.
God, they've had some good chances, haven't they, CT? And they're clear-cut chances.
Yeah, and if they don't get a result here, they'll be licking their wounds because they'll know that they should have because of the opportunities they've had. You're spot on.
And on any other day, they could have had 3 dead-set goals.
Yep, up to this point, I'd say Adamstown should have it based on chances as Luke Valone, an early strike. Ooh. Tyler Warren just got there. Just the one clean sheet for Hamilton this year. Now he's back against Adamstown in round 3. So it's a very tight contest usually between these two sides. Here's Leo Bertos. And interestingly, it's been almost 6 hours since Adamstown last scored against Hamilton Olympic.
I think Valone's done his hamstring. He's pulled up lame twice now. Or he's got a knock.
Well, he is stretching out. He's shaking his head here. And he looks in a lot of trouble. Luke Valone at the moment, he looks a little frustrated. He's staying out there. It's Connor Hayden takes on Tom Davies. As I said, it's been 6 hours since Adamstown last scored against Hamilton. That was 2 years ago. 3.5 matches it's been. Or 4 matches, actually, if you include the second half of that match in 2016 and the first half here. It's 4 matches all up since Adamstown last scored against Hamilton. Luke Valone coming to the sideline. Trying to get some kind of...
I have no idea what Tyler Warren just did then. He just kicked the ball straight out. So he must have kicked the ground. I totally missed. I just seen the ball roll out.
Well, it's all happening here at Adamstown. Valone's receiving treatment. Tyler Warren's blasting it over the sideline. Connor Hayden spinning. Got clipped. And again, grabs hold of the Achilles.
Well, we've got a few players for Olympic on yellow cards now, so this is where Smudge, they need to be careful. They don't need to be going down with a man.
Connor Hayden looks like he's in a bit of trouble here.
Well, we thought he was in trouble earlier in the match, Smudge, when you said he looked like an Achilles. Well, that one did. And he's clutching at that, and this would be awful. The stretcher is being summoned.
He's been very busy today. He's had another good game, Connor Hayden. He's looked dangerous every time he's gone forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And this would be a massive blow for Adamstown if he was to come off, because he's certainly a big part of their strike force.
Yep, and Luke Rutledge is calling for the stretcher. Such a breakout season for that youngster on the ground at the moment.
This is not good news for Connor Hayden or Adamstown. I don't want to see this situation.
A huge blow for Adamstown. I know Luke Valone's been doing well for them up front.
He's been such a weapon for them this year. As mentioned earlier, brilliant addition to the squad.
And both him and Valone, they've been working really well together. Valone been scoring much of the goals recently, but just as we said, the work he does off the ball, Connor Hayden.
Well, not only is he an outstanding footballer, he's just a great human. And he's going to be missed out in the park here, that's for sure.
Achilles. Ankle.
So Robbie Turnbull's just saying it's... is it an ankle? Or was Robbie Turnbull talking about himself?
I think himself.
I think Robbie was talking about himself. So at this stage, we're unclear whether it's a knee or an ankle.
But he looks absolutely dejected, Connor Hayden, as you would be. In such good form. The form of his career.
Replacement in the Adamstown team, number 9, Connor Hayden. Being replaced by number 15, Zane Winslow.
In the end, it was the challenge that forced the injury. So what can Ollie Davies do from the dead ball?
Well, this is a position that is a good position to strike from. You're out far enough to get the ball up and over the wall and far enough out for it to dip.
Spent his last 2 years at Olympic, Ollie Davies. That one straight into the wall. Thinks it back around, and Tyler Warren was awake to the danger, and we've got another man down now. It's carnage this afternoon at Darling Street. And the players, for them, this... So I know Smudge has just gone in to check about Connor Hayden, but it's not great for players to be stopping and starting on such a cool afternoon.
Well, it's not, no, but I think the more immediate concern is making sure that we've get some attention to this defender. Not sure who it is.
Maybe Blake Green. I'm just having a look. It looks as though it might be Blake Green. So all these injuries.
Looking across the park, I can't see Blake anywhere else. That's probably a fair assessment. But
maybe a head clash. It really has been a terrible few minutes for injuries.
Depending on the length of the time that we have the injury stoppage, you tend to think the coaches may at some point instruct their players to keep moving. As you say, Barton, such a cold afternoon here at Darling Street.
Well, exactly, and that's what we were talking about with Smudge before, with the Scott Pettit decision to bring him on such a cool afternoon. It is so difficult to even get yourself feeling warm with this wind.
Well,
it's bitterly cold. So Scott Pettit is going to come on. He's getting the tracksuit off. Got the tracksuit pants on at the moment. And Smudge, what's the verdict, or what is the prognosis, I should say, on Connor Hayden's injury?
Just talking to the coaching staff, no one exactly knows at the moment, but they're saying he rolled his ankle quite badly in the challenge. So, but
well, if he sprained his ankle, it's better than an Achilles. So I know we don't want any injury, but
Replacement in the Olympic team, number 5, Blake Green.
Hopefully, that's as bad as it gets, maybe a rolled ankle. And that goal kick from Tyler Warren, not one of his best. It's straight to Matt Sikulski, so they're going to have to do it without their super striker this year. And now Zane Winslade is out there in number 15. Been part of the squad for Adamstown for every match this year. Hasn't got on the field for every match, but it's been at least on the bench. Here's Beasley across the face. Tyler Warren just beyond the his outstretched arms, and no one there at the back post. Luke Valone is very ginger as well. He's having some issues with that left hamstring.
Beasley, for me, has been the most dangerous player on the park, hasn't he, CT? He's been electric. He's everywhere in defence and in attack. He's very elusive. Makes intent, run forward.
Yeah, and he's, as we said before, he's just got an eye. His intention is for goal, and that's very worrying for Olympic. We're playing with 3 at the back, and we've got him running at you with support staff. So they come again.
So Adamstown this afternoon looking to end a 14-match winless run against Hamilton Olympic. 13 matches in the top flight and 1 in the old President's Cup. 8 wins, 6 draws. No wins against Olympic since 2004. It's been a long time between drinks. Here's Luke Valone, a chance to put them ahead. He strikes against his former club. The celebration is muted, but it doesn't get much sweeter than that. And Adamstown lead it by a goal to nil.
What another great finish by Luke Valone. Great ball in over the top. Great little run in behind the defender for Hamilton, and Tyler Warren off his line and well-placed chip over. You know what? It's been coming, hasn't it? They've been threatening Adamstown early in this second half. Olympic very flat after half-time, and a well-deserved lead to Adamstown, CT.
Yeah, well, they've been threatening for quite a while now, and got what you would think at the moment, what they've deserved. And this player's running at a back three of Olympic. Look very, very dangerous.
Well, Pete McGuinness said coming into this game there may be some Adamstown players formerly at Olympic with a point to prove. Well, Luke Valone's proved it right there. 5 games in his last 4 matches in the NPL. There's only one question on my lips. Why, oh why, did Olympic let him go? Here's Matt Sikulski charging up the line. And now Luke Valone.
Great turn.
He's been wonderful this afternoon.
So is this guy.
Here's Beasley taking on Burtos. Got a boot in, it has crossed the line. Now Ollie Davies. And it's great to see a young man announce himself on this competition. Hasn't happened for a long time in terms of strikers attacking players. This one left short on Ben Kelly, gets there though. It's been the usual suspects, hasn't it, for a few years, you know, Kane Goodchild, Scott Smiths up the top of the leading scorer tally, but this year there's a youngster from Adamstown, or 2 youngsters, Connor Hayden and Luke Valone. Hayden now injured unfortunately, but Luke Valone with 5 goals this year. But Hamilton are looking to get themselves back into it. And Ben Kelly, experienced in goals, did really well there. Now he releases Sikulski. All the running is with the Rosebuds at the moment. He trips over the ball and his own feet there. Pappas sprays the pass out to Cody Lucas. His pass is too heavy for Jake McGuinness. Now, you two would know better than most. How do you feel as a coach when you let a player go? They move to a player at your club that maybe hasn't got a chance or is struggling. They go to another club and then they shoot the lights out like Luke Valone has done.
Well,
do you feel really happy for them? Or you
do. You actually do.
Do you wish you had have kept them? Well, what's sort of the feeling?
Well, you come up with a game plan at the start of the year. You know what players you want to bring in, the style you want to play. At that time, Luke Valone might not have suited Pete McGuinness' style or the way he wanted to play. And you might not have seen much of Luke Valone, but you feel very happy for the player, actually. And,
it's mixed feelings, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Alex Graham just goes down in the middle of the park. And the other thing for Olympic is they have so much depth in the attacking department. You know, you've got Simon Mooney, Scott Pettit, Jed Hornery. I think that's where Pete McGuinness probably thought Luke Valone wasn't in his plans and made the move, and he hasn't looked back. Here's Ollie Davies with the throw. Struggled with Smudge's challenge this year, did young Ollie. Much better footballer than he is a Smudge's challenge candidate. But you'd prefer that, wouldn't you? Finley Beasley now. Taking on Cody Lucas. Tom Davies rocketed that one over the grandstand.
But I just got a text from my good friend of mine and one of Bar TV's favourite viewers, Robert Bagilli, just asking if you could get a joke from CT.
Smudge, I highly doubt that's his request because he probably hates my jokes more than you do. But anyway, on the strength of that, just very quickly, did you know that French fries weren't actually invented in France?
In English? What did you say?
I'll come back to it after the free kick.
I didn't understand that either.
I did not understand that at all. I know you've been up in Queensland, CT.
We'll come back to that.
We'll stop the Queensland jokes. Big Origin next Sunday, of course. Can't wait for that. Straight after our big rivalry match next Sunday between Edgeworth and Magic. Two big rivalries on one day. Big week of action. But here we go, Adamstown with the lead. Luke Valone couldn't quite sneak it inside that far post. He's still very ginger.
Smudge, I'm half expecting a text from Chile asking not to tell it, but I'm going to anyway. Did you know the first French fries weren't actually cooked in France? They were cooked in Greece. Bart's actually laughing at that.
Oh, Robert Gilly just sent a text through. He just said, "Oh, one more, please, CT."
Yeah, no, that's it. That'll do.
It's just like Harry Schnitzels, isn't it? One more, please, CT. You can start your own business, run your own joke business. Here's Jake McGuinness. Is this the route for Olympic? The man in red-hot form, Scott Pettit. 4 goals in 4 games, and he tees up Jed Hornery to finish it off. Ollie Davies tried gainfully to keep it out, but Jed Hornery's purple patch of form continues. That's 3 goals in his last 3. And Olympic get their equaliser.
And that's Scott Pettit at his best. Found a bit of space out wide, drove into the box. Nice shot on goal, but it was parried by Ben Kelly, and Jed Hornery finished it very well. Like we said before, and early in the first half, that they needed some enthusiasm out there, and Pettit's going to bring that, I think, in the final 30 minutes.
Oh, here he is, Scott Pettit. He's so quick, isn't he? Weaving away from a couple, and you could probably say he assisted that. So what's that, 4 straight assists for Scott Pettit when he's been playing?
Yeah, without a doubt, that was an assist. In fact, he was almost going to score himself. But the other thing about that is, he's got a bit of a niggle, but really Olympic need the points here today, and Peter McGuinness is obviously making a conscious decision to take that chance.
Well, remember the statistic, Adamstown, they scored first this afternoon for only the fourth time this year in 12 matches. They haven't lost when they've scored first. So the statistic bodes well for Adamstown. But remember, they haven't beaten Hamilton in almost 14 years. Here's Ben Higgins. And now Sikulski around Tom Davies with ease.
Be careful.
Giving him a little tug. Sikulski cuts it back. Kyle Hodges. That was important from him to get in the way.
Great touch by Pettit.
Now McGuinness. Scott Pettit has changed this game since he's come on. But that's a great tackle from Alex Graham, the former Olympic midfielder. Played a lot of 20s last year for them.
I'll tell you what, Olympic's back 3, he's looking quite shaky. Adamstown's got him beyond, especially in the pockets out wide.
Well, they have done, and they were doing that consistently in the first half as well. They just need to be careful. It's where you need your wide guys.
Great flick on from Graham to Beasley.
Helping out.
Leo Bertos sees the danger he possesses, tries to come across and smother the threat.
Just around the grounds at Windy Hill today. Maitland 4, Charlestown 1.
Here's Beasley, dinks it wide. It was just a bit too heavy, and with the wind, that is going to run like it's going downhill. Sikulski somehow reels it in. Maybe he had to whip this one across the face. Beasley looking for his first NPL goal. If there's been a performance that has deserved one, it's this one this afternoon. Smudge thinks he's probably close to man of the match at this point. We've got a fair way to go.
2 more occasions there. Adamstown have been in and gotten behind that back 3. And that's got to be worrying for Peter McGuinness. He needs to be tightened up, or at least get some extra additional cover for the 2 holders.
Kyle Hodges. Now Pettit. But still, this performance from Adamstown, an unheralded side. Again, they have stepped up to the plate.
Well, they've been the better side, haven't they, so far? And they've had the more clear-cut chances.
No doubt about it. Alex Graham, just the energy of these youngsters. And also with the experience, you've got Ben Higgins Luke Rutledge hasn't played a lot of first team, but he's been good. Here's Hornery in on goal. 2 goals this afternoon for Jed Hornery. And he just keeps scoring for Hamilton. That is 4 goals now in 3 matches. Gee whiz.
So 2 things there. Look at Reece Cooper. He's playing more central in the second half. He was playing wider in the first half. He's better, more central. Great ball in, beyond the back 4. But what a great run across the defenders from Jed Hornery, and well finished. He's a quality young player, and that's a better play by Olympic. And lucky to be in the lead, however, they should continue on this.
You should have seen the celebration from Pete McGuinness on the sideline. That was a decent fist pump.
Well, it would be, because he knows his team has been under a whole heap of pressure, and right now they find themselves in front, but this game is a long way from over.
Now this young Adamstown side has to respond.
Just looking at Jed Hornery here, it looks like he's having a bit of a limp. He's been playing with a bit of a hamstring issue the past few weeks.
I think he's about to come off, to be honest.
Yeah, I think his hamstring's really tightened up. He's sort of just clutching at it just before.
It's his only issue, Jed Hornery, injuries. When he hasn't been injured, he's been deadly. Here's Judd Duncan, Sikulski.
Even the finish, the strike was just perfectly timed.
Now Cooper overhits the pass. And now Hornery does go to ground. Doesn't want to aggravate that hamstring anymore. He's going to walk his way off the field. So 2 goals in his first 2 NPL matches of the season. Then he was injured. And since he's come back, he's now scored 4 goals in his last 3 matches.
Couldn't agree more, Chili.
Olympic team, number 13, Jed Hornery.
He's just saying he likes my joke. I thought that was a cracker.
The grease joke, was that the one, CT?
That's the one. Yeah, couldn't agree more, Chili. It was a cracker.
Well, this is a real test for Adamstown now. Leading the match. Now they've gone down. Young side. How resilient are they? And the better side, you'd probably say, in terms of chances created. Hamilton have just been more ruthless. Kane Treble now out there. He was in wonderful form last year in the under-18. Scored 19 goals in Hamilton's championship-winning side. Premiership and championship-winning side. Jake McGuinness. Now Burtos. Across to Cooper. Brings it under his control. And Kelly. Swiftly out and launches one.
I really like Reece Cooper playing in that number 10 role, more central, because he can run into those pockets left and right side. He's very dangerous, especially playing just in front of the back 4 of the opposition. In the first half, he was playing more on this left-hand side. Didn't really get much of the ball, to be honest. But, yeah, he's really come, especially in the last 10 minutes or so.
And when he's running from deep, that's when he's at his most dangerous. When he's running with speed at the ball, his ball control is that good that he can run at speed and just glide past players, and that's pretty dangerous when he's got such an effective finish.
Here's the flick onto Luke Verline. Now Sikulski angling the run.
Even so, Adamstown still look dangerous going forward, don't they?
Robbie Turnbull now gets in front of Scott Pettit. Rides the challenge of McGuinness and still Pettit after him. Sikulski just got the arm out. Not quite as obvious as Samuel Umtiti's handball last night. Smudge, we were talking about that pre-game. It was one of the more interesting handballs you'll ever see.
For a professional player to jump with your hand up like that, It's beyond me.
Would you play the Benny Hill music if you watched it back again? Kane treble. Now Rutledge. So scores from the other grounds. Maitland 4-1 up against Charlestown, and Valentine still 2-1 down against the Jets as it stands.
I think so, yeah. I'm just checking.
So we head towards the final 20 minutes in all matches this afternoon. Sikulski looks up and just absolutely hammers that pass.
I'll tell you what, Adamstown have been in such good positions in this front third, but their decision-making just hasn't been...
It's just been inexperience.
It's just been inexperience, yeah. That final ball just hasn't stuck, or they've played the wrong option. If they could just work on their front third, they could like really worry a few sides.
Well, I'm not sure what Sikulski was thinking then, because he really overhit that pass, and I'm not even sure where it was intended, but the fact is that he was getting in good position, and as you say, Smudge, with some better choices in around the box, they could find themselves in front.
What a great ball by Reece Pappas.
Scott Pettit. Well, this would seal it if they could get a third. Pettit!
Just want to go back on that Reece Pappas ball. Virtually a blind pass on the volley. Absolutely brilliant ball.
He just knew where his man
exactly.
was. Pettit, and what a strike in the end from Pettit.
Just straight at Kelly. That was the only unfortunate
That was the only
thing.
issue. Yep.
Valone. The up and over. Almost like a box kick in rugby.
I was just looking at Olympics back three there. They were all over the shop. If I was Pete, I'd probably revert back to a back four. Probably lock this game away because they need the 3 points. Move Pappas back in the back line. Tom Davies right side.
Well, nutmeg on Kyle Hodges there. Here's Beasley. And then Tom Davies. May have clipped Beasley on the way through there with the elbow. Ben Kelly. He's playing with fire there. Literally fire. Here's Rutledge. He was in a little bit of trouble. Ben Kelly.
Looks like Pappas has moved back to the back line just with their shape just at the moment.
Yeah, we'll see if he stays there, and Hodges is out on the left. No, they've reverted back to where they were. Hodges still on the left-hand side, though.
Duncan picks out Kyle Hodges. Alex Graham slides in, and now Sikulski. Tom Davies will do well to keep this one from crossing the line, and he can't.
You just get the feeling Adamstown aren't done with yet.
So Luke Valone, he looks short. Beasley. Active alone, the outside of the boot. Now Beasley will win the corner into the final 15 minutes. Adamstown, they've actually got the second worst defensive record in this period of the match. Only Lake Macquarie have a worse defensive record in the last 15 of matches. 7 conceded. Adamstown have conceded 6. And Higgins, up he goes. A little bump down in the box. But it's Jacob Bailey who's gone down for Hamilton Olympic. Treble with the attempted flick on. Beautiful chest down from Valone. And Hamilton this afternoon, they've kept up their record. Along with Western yesterday, the only side through 13 rounds to have scored in every match so far. Robbie Turnbull with a long throw. Hodges appeals for handball. It's a little bit nervous, the Olympic defence at the moment. As you were saying before, Smudge, they're looking a little rattled.
Like I said, every time Adamstown go forward, they look threatening. They look like they're going to create something. Just that final option or final decision-making in their front third has just sort of let them down today. However, it's not over yet. Still another 15 to go.
Rutledge finds Valone.
And again,
Lays it off to Duncan. Immediately finds the pass to Higgins, who was offside.
So let me explain with the back three, and they've got two screeners in front, but their screeners are too high. They're not really screening the back three. And Sokolski's and that, they're just dropping in that pocket there. There's space, they're able to turn and play. It's causing all sorts of trouble. That's a tremendous ball by Pappas. Just a bit too hard.
Yeah, it's got a roaring wind behind it, so it's hard to judge it.
Rutledge to Winslade. Came on for Connor Hayden, if you have just joined us. Left the field with a suspected ankle injury, and Blake Green also left the ground with what looked to be a head clash. He looked a little dazed. Scott Pettit came on for him. Leo Bertos sees the run of the youngster Kane Treble. Just in his third match for Hamilton Olympic in the NPL, he's already scored once. It was a winner against Western. He tried to tee up Scott Pettit there.
It's a great ball into the box as well.
Beasley now to Sokolski, who's moved across to this left-hand side. Pappas. Cody Lucas, neat one-touch football for Olympic, but breaks down for them. Cooper. His touch was too heavy, but Alex Graham almost recovered. Turnbull was interesting. He's played it straight to Cooper, who sees Kelly off his line. We've seen him do that before. And he's actually done that against Ben Kelly, but actually it wasn't Ben Kelly. Ben Kelly was playing for Western that year, but he didn't play that game. Pretty sure it was one of the Wand boys in goals, actually. So
it was a brilliant turn by Reece Cooper as well.
But he did do Rutledge that a couple of years ago. Scored a great goal from halfway. And this angle's off Rutledge's boot, but the wind will carry that one. So a third for Olympic will surely seal it. But Adamstown deserve a point at worst out of this afternoon's match. Just been a little bit of inexperience. Reece Pappas lasers that one over the fence. Will that ball be coming back, CT?
Well, if it's gone into the commission flats, I'm not sure.
Just as I was driving in, I was actually driving through that way, and I was getting abused by about 15 people driving past. Just young kids, absolutely abused.
Is that people that knew you, Smudge?
No. So I ended up parking my car way out the other end. I was about to park my car. I thought, no, I'm not parking here.
Could you repeat what they said?
No,
Smudge?
they were, yeah.
That was all right.
It wasn't just me. There was a car in front getting totally abused.
I followed a police car in, so I was all right.
You got the full treatment, CTs. We see Liam Ryan head out there. Luke Valone, goal this afternoon.
He's been busy, hasn't he? He had a good game again. Yeah, Beautiful finish goal.
Liam Ryan was at Maitland last year. I should say Aidan Von Essen. It is.
Yeah, boys. Luke Valone has had a very, very good game this afternoon. And as you said, an outstanding finish.
No, sorry, it is definitely Liam Ryan. Liam Ryan, who played for Maitland last year in the NPL Northern New South Wales. 3 goals in the 18s for him. As Jake McGuinness sends Reece Cooper on his way. Trying to break his goal-scoring drought. He tees up Kane Treble on the follow-up.
Penalty.
And it is going to be a penalty for a handball. Now, Luke Rutledge is filthy. He's got to be careful because he was banned in the pre-season for 4 matches for referee abuse. And he's given James Clearle a spray there. He said his arms were by his side. He's furious with the decision.
All in all, that was well played by Olympic. Great little ball in by Jake McGuinness to Cooper. And Cooper, great cut back. Probably Olympic should have finished it off there, but...
Look, what I did notice, Smudge, down the other end of the park was Olympic sitting with a 4 in the back line. It was Pappas worked his way deep, and he'd been in there a couple of times now, so...
So, again, Adamstown, they're having issues in the final 15 minutes. This is for 5 in 5 for Scott Pettit. Slams it down the middle, and Olympic will seal all 3 points now this afternoon. That'll be 7 wins in their last 9 when they get to the finish line this afternoon. Scott Pettit back on the score sheet in the NPL. They really missed him on Wednesday night against Broadmeadow Magic. They would have loved to have him out there.
So I'm unsure what's going on here. Looks like Rutledge is leaving the field. Did he get a card or something?
Well, has he been sent off here for what he said to James Cleal? I said he got banned for 4 matches.
It looks like he's been sent off, yeah. It must have been after the penalty.
Well, that's disappointing for Luke Rutledge because, as we said, missed the start, 4 matches to start the season. Just couldn't control himself there. It's one of the cardinal sins, isn't it? You just cannot say that kind of thing to a referee, whatever he did say.
You know what? Once the decision's made, the decision's made. You can't change a referee's mind.
Well, that's exactly right. I was going to make that point, Smudge. You know, for the young players that are watching, it isn't going to change anything. You've seen it over a lot of years. It just doesn't change that decision, and all you're going to do, likely, is put this team under more pressure than what they need to be.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like that's a little bit selfish.
Held in Beasley. I'm not going to leave you hanging there, Smudge. Yeah, I agree. Definitely. You just can't do that. You can't let your side down. Go down to 10 men.
Well, there's a fair bit of discipline involved there, but I mean, heat of the moment, frustration too, sometimes it takes over. And
Tell you what, Pettit's really made a difference when he's come on. Olympic were very flat, lacked ideas, lacked energy, and he's come on, and for me, he's changed it.
3 goals since he's come onto the park.
Yep.
we see Pappas in the back line again.
And Adamstown, who again looked good for 3 points. They're going to have to wait. Another season's going to go by for them without a win against Hamilton.
Been good, Beasley.
Great run from him. Just stopped in his tracks by Kyle Hodges. Zane Winslade couldn't hold that up.
He has not stopped trying the whole game. Oh.
Kane treble. And now this one played straight to Scott Pettit. Well, can he seal a quick fire double? Jed Horner, he's already grabbed 2 this afternoon. Reese Cooper gets bumped to ground. That should... Well, it isn't going to be a card. I thought it was a bit of a cynical foul from Alex Graham. And here's a chance for another Olympic youngster. Tom Stewart going to head out there. Number 35 for Olympic, and Tom Davies is going to head off. He's a defender, Tom Stewart, but he did score in the FFA Cup last year for Olympic against Cessnock.
Looking at that, they look like they've reverted to a back 4 now, CT, with Pappas slotting back next to Kyle Hodges. Cody Lucas gone to left and Tom Stewart to the right-hand side. Great move by McGuinness. I probably would have done it 15 minutes ago. Yeah,
I think, well, he's been in there for maybe sort of 5 or 10, but yeah, you're right. It is a great move from McGuinness.
Leo Bertos, treble. Gee, he's got great close control. Ben Kelly with a smother. Scott Pettit may have a second, but was just caught offside.
He's elusive, isn't he?
What a turn from Kane treble.
Yeah, it was just certainly a very quick drag back, and it stuck to his studs, no problem there, and was able to get a shot away.
You don't score 19 goals in a season, regardless of what competition you're in, if you are not talented. He certainly is. And this man is also talented, Finlay Beasley. Can he get the goal he deserves? Well...
And again, they threaten every time they go forward. It's just that final decision-making in that front third which has hurt them.
So let's just check the scores around the NPL Northern New South Wales. A reminder, yesterday Lakes beat Western 2-1. They deserve that one. Lake Macquarie and Magic drew with Lambton 1-1. Maitland winning 4-1 against Charlestown. And the Jets 2-1 up against Valentine with 5 minutes to play at the CB complex. So that one still in the balance. The other two signed, sealed and delivered.
I tell you what a mouth-watering contest on Wednesday. Charlestown versus Olympic in the catch-up game.
Important match, that one.
Very important for both sides. And like you said, both sides playing their 5th game in, 15, 16 days.
Alex Graham. Now Winslade. Robbie Turnbull. Did flick on from Liam Ryan, but Tom Stewart, he was just way too tall. Jacob Bailey. Balls like that are almost impossible to track down this afternoon. Beasley, quick little turn. So a big couple of weeks coming up in the NPL Northern New South Wales. Next weekend, we've got the huge clash between Edgeworth and Hamilton Olympic. And the following Tuesday night, the FFA Cup draw. We'll see where Broadmeadow Magic and Charlestown will be playing their round of 32 matches. Scott Pettit now looks up, showing a clean pair of heels since he's come on. Good to see him injury-free. Across the face, and Ben Kelly has had a bit of work to do lately.
Trying to find Bertos.
Liam Ryan got some strong treatment from McGuinness. Beasley, good turn.
Just around the grounds, Bart. Valentine has equalised, so it's 2-2 at CB Complex.
Now, suffering fans this year will be very pleased with that. As Liam Ryan tries to crawl his way through the Hamilton backline. Into stoppage time here at Darling Street. And Kane Treble now. Olympic with a late flurry of opportunities. Looking to put away a 4th. It would be unfair on Adamstown to concede a 4th. So many opportunities throughout the start of this second half and the back end of the first half. Just unable to take them. Olympic much more clinical, and it's shown on the score sheet. They did break a goal-scoring drought of almost 6 hours, or over 6 hours, Adamstown. 3 matches without a goal against Olympic coming into this afternoon's match, but Luke Valone changed that. And it's been all one-way traffic since then. Ollie Davies.
Great touch by Pappas.
Now Reece Cooper. Hasn't scored here at Darling Street since round 3. You side straight through the middle. Here he is, Reece Cooper. And the king of Darling Street. He breaks his drought. Rolls it past Ben Kelly. That is a Reece Cooper special.
Well, he had options there, Cooper. We know he's dangerous and very, very dangerous when he's got the ball at his feet, Smudge, running, weaving. Can't go past you. He gets fouled a lot on that occasion, and then he had clearly Pettit on his left-hand side, which I think that's where he was going to go. But then the heavens opened up, and he continued his run and finished it beautifully against Kelly, who was advancing.
Yeah, and what a great finish as well. He still had to beat Kelly. But yeah, the Adamstown defenders, they'll just split, weren't they? They've been playing the back 3. There's a lot more out there. They have players bombing forward trying to get a late goal. But yeah, great touch by Reece Pappas initially. But Reece Cooper, absolute quality finish.
Does he ever score a bad goal, Reece Cooper? I'm just trying to think of a scrappy goal he scored. Because his last goal, he was a dink from outside the box against Valentine to equalise late.
But there's never a bad goal, mate.
Here's wins. I know that. But
never a bad goal.
When you're on the coaching bench. Obviously, when you're a neutral. Leo Bertos. I know he scored a very scrappy goal a couple of weeks ago. Against Edgeworth, I think it was, maybe a few more weeks ago. Here's Pappas and now Bailey. So James Cleal has a look at the watch. Not long left now. And we're very appreciative of that because I'm looking forward to having a nice hot shower when I get home because it's been a bitterly cold afternoon in the wind at Darling Street. The dying embers of round 13. Hodges just holds off Beasley. And Adamstown now have the worst defence in the competition in the last 15 minutes with these late goals conceded. Certainly an area they've just got to look at. Even though they only have 10 men out there at the moment, so that has hurt them.
Treble as well. Since he's been on for the last 10, 15 minutes, he's showed a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy as well. He's been very busy and very proactive.
It's interesting you say that, Smudge, because I was just thinking of Treble, that he's really made an impact as well, and how impressed I am with him in terms of his ability and decision-making. It's not always just forward. We saw just a moment ago, not much on, and he just put their foot on the ball and stopped it.
Well, there could be a fifth here. Scott Pettit. He is just offside.
And just around the grounds, Maitland 5. Charlestown 1.
So we have got a fair bit of stoppage time in the second half. We've had a few injuries. Blake Green and also Connor Hayden going to the turf. Liam Ryan. And now could be a late consolation for Judd Duncan. Hit that one with some ferocity.
And again, Olympics defence in 6s and 7s. Just like a communication between the two centre-backs there. But in saying that, one's slightly injured with a strained calf and the other one's been really crook. So it's been a great effort by Hodges and Pappas today to actually be on the field.
Burtos shanks the clearance away. Duncan, you can see the wind really holding that one up. Tom Stewart with a powerful header away. Liam Ryan. Now to Sikulski, turns and shoots. Took a deflection. Tyler Warren. A bit of work to do. Ben Higgins hasn't scored since 2009. Actually a longer drought than Kyle Hodges. But the drought that will continue is Adamstown's against Hamilton Olympic. It'll stretch to a 15th year next year. And it's now 15 matches since they last won against Olympic. So after their midweek heartbreak, Hamilton, they return to the winner's circle. It's just their second win at home this season, but it takes them to 16 points. And now to within touching distance of the top 4 and 4 points of the all-important final spot. So full-time at Adamstown Oval this afternoon. Hamilton Olympic 4, Adamstown Rosebud 1. The boys, in the end, the scoreline probably flatters Hamilton Olympic.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I mean, the opportunities that Adamstown had, and if they'd taken some, and Smudge, I'm sure you'll agree, could have had a different game on our hands because they were looking very, very dangerous for long periods, particularly that last 20 minutes and certainly the first 20 minutes of the second half, and came back out straight after half-time and almost scored. So, on that, potentially it did. But all in all, great result for Hamilton Olympic, and that has concluded where things have ended up.
Yeah, Smudge is going to try and get Jacob Bailey up for a chat. Adamstown, you can see the frustration from the bench there. 4-1, they lose this one, and they'll feel like they were so close to 3 points. And Luke Rutledge, well, he may miss a few weeks for that red card and the reason for it, for the official abuse. So hopefully for his sake, it's not going to be a long stay on the sidelines. But for the victors, across to UCT, you got Jacob Bailey.
Yeah, and Smudge as well. Yeah, Bales, look, I'll just jump on your level here.
First time in your life you've been at my level.
Sorry, that's not true. Mate, look, a big result there for Olympic. Today that Adamstown really test you and stretch you out and opened you up at the back at times.
Yeah, they're always a physical side. They tend to make themselves a bit of a nuisance to us. And look, they were hard to break down. I think it took the very end for us to get on top. So, yeah, good win today. Really good win.
And Bales, you've got yourself back into this side, and you seem to be. We've loved watching you, prior to your injury, and you've got yourself back and fit again. You seem to have slotted straight back into the side.
Yeah, look, it did take a good 10 weeks to get things back rolling with my knee and get a bit of confidence. So yeah, I'm happy to be back and happy to be helping the side. That's the main thing. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you got 4 goals in the end.
Yeah.
We were saying that the score may have been a little bit different had Adamstown taken a few of their chances.
Yeah, look, you can never write that side off. We just had to take ours in the end, and 4-1. Look, I don't think it's probably a true reflection of the game, but we'll take it.
Look, to be honest, one of the things that we'd noticed that the exposure at the back, Adamstown got in behind, and it would have been frightening for Peter McGuinness at times. The amount of times and the frequency they were doing, is that something you're likely to work on during the week?
Yeah, look, there are always things we need to work on. We'll take that away today. Only 3 at the back. Something we've kind of tinkered with at training and that. So, we're going to work on it, and we'll be back stronger next week.
Yeah, well, this victory is a very, very important one in terms of the points on the table. Thanks for joining us, and go and celebrate with your team.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
We're supposed to use the mic.
Yeah,
that was Jacob Bailey.
Great performance this afternoon from Jacob CT. Now, we want to try and get out of the win. Now, hang on. I'll come down to your level.
It's the first time you've been on my level. But
and we'll wrap up this one this afternoon as I try not to choke. Next week, NPL show 6:30 on Thursday night. But next Sunday, we've got a mouth-watering contest. Broadmeadow Magic heading out to Edgeworth to take on the Eagles. It always is. There's always controversy, or controversy is not far away when Magic play the Eagles.
Here you go,
Spudge. You know what? I'll tell you what, Edgeworth are going to be very hard to beat out there. They've been knocked out of the FFA Cup. They're devastated over that. Their focus is the NPL. They're going to be hard. I think they're a big chance of winning the title.
Well, next week's a huge match because Edgeworth have got 1 match in hand on Broadmeadow Magic. They're a point behind, so if they win that, they could effectively put a 3-point or more gap on Magic in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight. I think, but you know what? Magic's in red-hot form at the moment. They're undefeated in about 10 or 11 games. So, they're full of confidence at the moment. They've got the momentum, and they'll be confident against Edgeworth. But I think Edgeworth's always a difficult game, and it'd be very interesting.
We'll find out who you'll tip on Thursday. Who do you think you'll tip?
He'll be straight on Magic on Thursday night. Don't worry about that.
All right, well, we'll let you guys go. Go have a nice, warm, hot shower. We'll catch you on Thursday night.